John here at Two Wheel Vintage. It is the end of January, and today is one of those days where if you have a two-wheel machine, you're probably going to be out using it. So until the weather breaks, I'm going to show you a review of a 2020 Triumph T120 Bonneville that I picked up a little over a year ago. It was my first ever time on a video blog, so don't be too hard on me. Thanks, and see you later. So I just picked up my bike from Mark's Motorsports here in Enfield, Connecticut. It had its first service. You got out of the parking lot here. It's a little tricky, a lot of traffic. It's got 470 miles on it. And I'm going to give you some of the things that I do or don't like about the bike. Let's head home. Hope you can hear me all right. Let me put the shield down. I don't know if that helps any. So this is a 2020 T120. It's the 1200 model. This guy's just gonna cut me off here. And I picked it up in October. This is April. Of course, I live in New England, so weather and all that's crap. So I was only able to put like 470 miles on it. But I did enjoy those miles, and I got used to the bike. Now, I do have 4 other bikes that I ride. 2 are vintage bikes, so I really don't get to ride them much. They're just to and from shows or just around town and stuff. My dependable bikes are this one, and there's a pair of Harleys at home, the touring models, Street Glide and Ultra Limited. But the reason I bought this bike was because I was looking for something like a commuter bike. The Harley is a great bike, all-around bike for pretty much anything. The mileage isn't as great as this bike. And where I live, I have neighbors really close by, so what I end up doing is having to push the motorcycle down to the street before I start it, the Harley, because it's you know, kind of loud, and I don't want to tick them off. And even this bike I push down the street, but let me tell you, this bike probably weighs a little over half what the other bike does, so pushing this one out to the street is nothing. So I was looking for a bike to buy, and you know, I didn't want to go crazy, you know, $20,000 plus bike. Like I said, this was October when I bought this, so they were kind of having a year-end clearance sale, I guess you would call it, for the 2020 models. So I got this for like a little over $10,000, which I didn't think was bad at all for a brand new bike. I was looking at their T100, which is a 900cc, not a 1200cc like this one. And that had a 5-speed, and this has a 6-speed. That one got better fuel mileage, but there was a lot of accessories and stuff it didn't come with, like heated grips. Living here in New England, I love having the heated grips. I got them on a couple of my other bikes too, not the vintage ones obviously, and they make a world of difference. This has a dual disc brake, which the T100 didn't have. Center stand, which anybody who's cleaned chains or adjusted chains pretty much knows. The center stand really helps out to get that wheel off the ground so you can spin it and do all your cleaning and adjusting. Rear grab rail, the other one didn't come with. It just, there's a bunch of things, but anyway. So I bought the T120, and I've had it now for a few months. And I'll tell you, what I like about it, it's pretty nimble. It's light, it's easy to steer. It just sends you when you hit the gas. You know, 1200 for such a light bike, and I think it's like 79 or 80 horsepower, and the torque's 77 foot-pounds, I believe. I could be wrong. The sound of this bike, though, was incredible. You take the old, I have a CB350, 1972 CB350, and I have a 1970 Yamaha XS1. So all three of these bikes are parallel twins, but each one is different. The CB350 is a 180 degree parallel twin, so when one piston is directly up, the other piston is directly down. The XS1, which is a Yamaha XS650, is a 360 degree crank. So both pistons rise and both pistons fall at the same time. One stroke is... Oh, gotta stop here. Doing some bridge work. One stroke is always firing on that engine. Now on this engine, it's a 270 degree crank. So it's almost like the Harley's crank. They're not directly opposite each other, and they're not with each other. They're a little bit off. So while one's going up on top, the other one's trailing it, but still going up. So what I like about this bike, like I said, it was the power, the fuel economy, it's nimble. The front brakes are good with the dual disc. Can't complain about the rear brakes either. Alright, so let's get down into my nitpicky issues. And these are nitpicky. Some of you out there who are either looking to buy one or bought one and just are watching this video, you're gonna either have the same experience as me, or you're gonna say, he's full of crap. That doesn't bother me. Yeah, I mean, everybody's different sizes, different shapes. So here's the first nitpick thing I got on it: the shifter lever. I had to adjust it up one spline because to me it was just too low. I had a hard time getting my work boot on it, because remember, I drive it back and forth to work when I wear work boots. I had a hard time getting my work boot under it, and I just had to move it up a spline. It was real easy to do. I think it was like an 8mm socket or wrench to move it. That's my first nitpicky thing. Second nitpicky thing is the handlebars. I think I'm gonna try to put like a 1-inch riser on these. Just get a little closer. I'm a little hunched over riding it. I'm around 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in there. Probably shrunk with age, so I'm probably closer to 5'9" now. And after a while, just the leaning over. I'm used to the cruiser leaning back Harley that I have, so this is a little different. Those are really the only two little nitpick things I have. Now the major thing, and when I filled out the Triumph survey, I actually filled this out as one of my complaints about it. So the one thing that's kind of a big issue for me is the bike doesn't have self-canceling turn signals. This is 2020. I've had bikes that were made in 1980 that had self-canceling turn signals. That was 40 years ago. You have ABS, you have traction control, you have all these safety features, but you don't have self-canceling turn signals. what if I'm coming to a stop and I have my right turn signal on and I take that turn and I forget to turn it off, and somebody right down the street is pulling out of a right-hand street and sees my right-hand turn signal on and says, oh yeah, he's pulling down this street, let me just cut out. It may not be an issue to you who are used to it, but my other daily rider, the Harleys, when I take them, they all have self-canceling turn signal. As soon as that bike leans and stands up, that signal is off, so you never have to put your thumb on the switch. You come from one of those bikes and I'll bet you you forget to turn that sucker off. And I've done it. I've been riding down the road and the turn signal light is not very bright. Not bright enough to catch your attention all the time. So yeah, you see that thing and boom. Anyway, that's my one major thing. Yeah, the suspension is bumpy. You can put some better shocks on it. I won't. I mean, I'm used to riding the other vintage bikes where their suspension is a lot worse. So to me, this is fine. If you see a bump coming, let's take a little weight off your butt or something. Your spine will thank you later for that. Yeah, I shouldn't have taken this way. This is a crappy road. So that's pretty much what I got to say about the nitpicky or my issues with it bike. I mean, for $10,000, come on, this thing's a freaking rocket. It's not an R1. It's not a Chinese bike. I mean, when people look at it and say, what size is that? And I tell them it's a 1200. They're like, it's a 1200? That small thing? I'm like, yeah, liquid cooled, 1200, fuel injected. You know, the funny thing is I've been riding probably close to 20 minutes here, and I don't even know if the microphone works. I've never tried it before, so this ought to be interesting for me. If it doesn't work, you'll never know, because you'll never probably see this, or I'll just do a voiceover. Well, then I might explain it to you that it didn't work. So yeah, you might find out anyway. This is all redone. I don't like this. I do not like roundabouts on some of these roads. And it's not that it is a roundabout, it's just it's a weird road. I guess it could be half a roundabout. You can't go all the way around it though, so I don't know what you call it. It's got plenty of power though, I'll tell you that. Now, these clouds are turning darker. I hope I get home before it starts pouring. I still got a long way to go to get home. I'm probably maybe not even halfway there. I don't know. There's only 3 Triumph dealerships in Connecticut. The one where I just picked this bike up in Enfield, Mark's Motorsports. There's another one in New Haven or North Haven. I think it's New Haven, which is Libby's. And then there's another one that's out by the casinos. I don't remember the name of that one. That was the farthest one away from me anyway. And I had heard good things about Mark, so I decided to go there. And the salesman, what a great guy he was. His name's Keith. If you ever go to Mark's Motorsports, go talk to Keith. Get yourself a bike. He's the man. My God, so much of this has changed because I grew up around here. And these were my old stomping grounds. And of course now I live further away. I have to travel through it to get home, but there was never a roundabout here. It was just a straight road. What do you need it for? There's only two roads. The one road going in, one road going out. There's no side roads coming in. It's just to slow you down. Put up a speed bump for that. So on the gauges, you have, you know, obviously the speedo and the tach. But on the tachometer side, you have an LED screen, and that's pretty much your fuel and your driving modes. It has rain and road. I've never used rain, even in the rain. It tells you your miles still empty. And those bars are your fuel gauge. The stop sign wasn't here when I was growing up. On the left side, you have your gear indicator, your odometer. It tells you your heated hand grips are either off, low, or high. Trip 1, trip 2. Your average miles per gallon, instant, and your miles per gallon with this tank full since you reset it. Or I'd reset it every tank full. It's got a clock. Oh, and that should be another nitpicky thing about me. It's only in military time. Now, not that I have anything against the military. I love the military. I think the guys are great that serve for our country. I have nothing but respect for them. I just don't like the way they tell time. So it says 14:19, so it's 2:19 p.m. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I wish there was an option that you could switch it one way or the other. And I did bring it for its 500-mile service. I now have 486 miles on it. We've gone 16 miles since I picked it up. I owned a Chevy van and it burned up right here on the side of the road, had a fuel leak. That was horrible, watching that go. Of course, you didn't have cell phones, so what are you going to do? You can't call the police or the fire department. I had to run home. So why should you buy this bike? Why did I buy this bike? Why should anybody buy this bike? It's a fun bike. I'm telling you, it is a fun bike. It just wants to go. As long as you're in the right gear. Sounds great. If you grew up on this type of bike, you know, like the flat seat, the sitting upright position, like I did, you know, riding 70s bikes. I think I rode 70s bikes all through the 80s because it's all I could afford. Then you'd be used to the seating position. It's just the way it was. All right. Another nitpicky thing that I just thought about. The gas cap. Oh, the gas cap. You need the key to unlock the gas cap every time you stop and get gas. So you have to, you know, turn off your ignition, pull the key out, put the key in the cap. You can't take the key out of the cap. So you have to leave it in the cap, put the cap on, screw it back on, twist the key, take it out, put it back in your ignition. So what I did right away when I got it was I took the gas cap off and I took it apart. There's a big C-clip and stuff in there, and found out how it worked. So it was just a matter of grinding down some pins. And what it does now is I can lock the gas cap with the key and use it just as it was before, unlock it if I can take the key out now, or I can leave it unlocked and leave the, if I'm just going to run up to the street and get gas and I'm not going to get off and leave my bike anywhere, I can leave the gas cap unlocked, leave the key in the ignition, take the cap off, get gas, put the cap on, turn the key, start the bike and leave. I think that's the way all bikes should be, with the option of locking the cap, but not that you need to use the key every single time you need to take the cap off. Okay, my anger issues are going away, fading away. This is the very first moto vlog that I've ever done. So, you know, on the little comments down there, don't jump all over me. This is my very first one. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know if it's recording. I'm having fun. I never talk. I usually listen to music. I have a one of those Bluetooth things that I stuck on my helmet, and a little Bluetooth player in my pocket, and I can turn that on and listen to music through speakers in the helmet. I have not had it on today because I've been talking. I knew that would distract me. I'd probably start singing, and then everybody would be turning the channel off and changing to something else, saying, "Oh my God, don't ever subscribe to that idiot. He thinks he can sing." I know I can't sing. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm not too far from home. This is a nice bike. This is a nice road to ride on. Depends on how slow the person in front of you is, though. This is the kind of road I can see that this bike was made for. A lot of nice turns. Paved, there's not a lot of potholes or cracks or anything. Oh, 501 miles. I just missed it. I've gone over 500 miles on this bike. So according to my GoPro, it's been recording for an hour. I think some of it I wasn't actually riding, though. I was getting ready to ride. It'd be a good test to see how long these batteries last. Hopefully the one on my chest, the one I'm talking through, is still working. Otherwise, you know, I'm just recording looking at myself the whole way. Is it just me, or that when anybody riding a motorcycle sees a truck or a landscape trailer with the with the gate down, making a ramp that you often wonder, should I hit that ramp and see if I can clear that truck? Probably could. It's the landing that wouldn't go well. All right, my street. I have made it.